Chief Constable, if I could come to you, you've made your stance on public apologies known in the past. How would you feel about this issue and about the idea or the notion of a public apology?
I think the issue of people being criminalised for their sexual orientation is a shocking thing when you look back at it. Clearly it's shocking. But the clip you played there, I talked about context and I talked about contemporary vision on past problems. I think people were badly treated, but I would expect the apology to come from the lawmakers who made the law. The police have no choice in what law they enforce, and we have no opinion on the laws. So if Tynwald now said it's illegal to wear brown shoes, we'd enforce the law to stop people wearing brown shoes. And I'm not making a trivial point here for a serious issue. If an apology comes, I would expect it to come from the Chief Minister.
I will expand on that, and I totally agree with what the Chief Constable is saying. I mean, he has to do the law as stated by Tynwald or the government of the day. As far as the new bill coming forward, the Sexual Offences Bill, which has just been issued in the first reading in Keys, in that bill, I've made sure that a pardon for historical homosexual offences will be written into the bill. Now, in that instance, it's if it was an offence before and it's still an offence now, there'll be no pardons. If it was an offence before and it's not an offence now, you'll be able to apply to have a pardon on that. Now, I think that's quite a fair way forward for the future. As to people apologising, it was nobody involved in this particular administration or anything else, and it's very hard to have somebody apologise for something that they really didn't have anything to do. I agree with the Chief Constable at the time; it was terrible, but times change. If we change the speed limit sign for a length of road and we suddenly took it off, do we go back and give everybody a refund for what they did on the speed limit? I know that's a very petty way of looking at things, but laws change, society changes, people's outlook and life changes. I'm just making sure within this bill that there is, if it was an offence then and it's still an offence now, you won't get a pardon. But if it's not an offence anymore, you can apply. It won't be automatic, and each case will be looked at individually. And yes, you'll get that pardon. I don't think within my department or within government we can be any fairer than that.
I think it's important to stress the distance the constabularies come. We have an external scrutiny group that looks at how we deal with issues around diversity and inclusion. That's independently chaired by Jane Poole-Wilson, MLC, and it's got representatives from disability charities, from the LGBTQ community. It's got representatives from different faith groups and different nationalities. We've come an awful long way in the last 10, 15 years.
As you mentioned, the Isle of Man Constabulary prides itself on inclusion. Every year it flies a rainbow flag for International Day Against Homophobia as solidarity with the island's LGBT community. Do you feel, therefore, that represents a change in tack, perhaps?
I've spoken to people from the LGBT community who said to me how wonderful it was to see the symbolism of the flag being flown from police stations. And it's not me making a political statement, because it's the right thing to do.
We also saw recently the visit of former Chief Constable Robin Oak to the island. That was covered quite heavily on social media. Are there mixed messages there at all, do you think?
Robin is a terrific man. He has his views, and his views were of the time. And Robin's views on things like that are not my views, but I deeply respect him because he was an excellent man, and he was very proud of his time as the Chief Constable here.
More broadly, moving on, how much of your tenure has been spent dealing with past legacies or with historical offences, perhaps more generally?
That's inevitable in the world we're in. We talked before about access to information and scrutiny and public interest in things. Well, public interest stretches back over a long time, and I think any Chief Constable in the modern times will increasingly find him or herself dealing with things from the past, and that's fine. And I touched before on spending time with a survivor of abuse, and I can't imagine what was in the heads of the officers at the time when that was reported, and they did nothing about it. I don't know. And I gave evidence to Tynwald about Notfield, and that was a very difficult thing to do, because contemporary issues and contemporary views and contemporary vision doesn't give you the perfect insight into what happened.